The Bab's story began less than 2 centuries ago. The Bab, Arabic for the gate, began his new faith in 1844. His stirring message heralded the future appearance of a great worldwide revelation, the coming of Baha'u'llah. A mere 6 years after the Bab's announcement of his new faith, the government ordered the execution of this young, intensely charismatic messenger, only 30 years old at the time. The Persian government and the Islamic clerics had already tortured and killed more than 20,000 Babis, yet more and more people continued to become followers of the Bab. In 1850, frightened of its growing influence and desperate to crush the Babi movement, the authorities made the decision to execute the Bab. When they charged him with apostasy, the same exact charge the Pharisees leveled against Jesus, the Bab refused to repent or refute his teachings and calmly accepted the consequences. On July 9, 1850, the Bab's jailers ordered him executed by firing squad in the town square of Tabriz, Persia. A youth named Anis, one of the Bab's young followers, insisted on accompanying him in death, and the authorities gladly consented. A massive crowd of 10,000 people watched from the roofs of the barracks and the nearby houses surrounding the square. But a serious complication arose. Earlier that morning, Sam Khan, the commander of the Armenian regiment of soldiers ordered to execute the Bab, had begged his forgiveness in advance. Sam Khan approached the Bab and said, "I profess the Christian faith and entertain no ill will against you. If your cause be the cause of truth, enable me to free myself from the obligation to shed your blood." To this, the Bab replied, "Follow your instructions, and if your intention be sincere, the Almighty is surely able to relieve you from your perplexity." The Bab and his disciple were suspended by ropes from a nail in the wall, the head of Anis resting on the breast of the Bab. 750 soldiers were positioned in 3 files. Roofs of the buildings around teemed with spectators. Each row of soldiers fired in turn. The smoke from so many rifles clouded the scene. When it lifted, the Bab was not there. Only his disciple could be seen, standing under the nail in the wall, smiling and unconcerned. Bullets had only severed the ropes with which they were suspended. Cries rang out from the onlookers, "The Sayyidi Bab has gone from our sight." A frantic search followed. The Bab was found, sitting in the same room where he had been lodged the night before, in conversation with his amanuensis. That conversation had been interrupted earlier in the day. Now it was finished, and he told the Farash Bashi to carry out his duty. But the Farash Bashi was terror-stricken and ran away, nor did he ever return to his post. Sam Khan, for his part, told his superiors that he had carried out the task given to him. He would not attempt it a second time. So Aka John Khani Khamse and his Nasiri regiment replaced the Armenians, and the Bab and his disciple were suspended once again at the same spot. The Nasiri regiments fired, the bodies of the Bab and his disciple were shattered, and their flesh was united. "O wayward generation," were the last words of the Bab to the gazing multitude. "Had you believed in me, every one of you would have followed the example of this youth, who stood in rank above most of you, and would have willingly sacrificed himself in my path. The day will come when you will have recognized me, That day I shall have ceased to be with you. The martyrdom of the Bab is depicted by Shoghi Effendi in this way. It can, moreover, be regarded in no other light except as the most dramatic, the most tragic event transpiring within the entire range of the first Baha'i century. Indeed, it can be rightly acclaimed as unparalleled in the annals of the lives of all the founders of the world's existing religious systems. Each year, Baha'is are given the glorious bounty of coming together to reflect on and commemorate this truly extraordinary moment of sacrifice in the history of our faith.